Good morning, Peterborough. My name is Jim Taub, and it is time for your SportsBreak broadcasted through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 C Triple FM here in Peterborough, Canada. This show can be streamed online at trentradio.ca, or you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. The weather outside today is a cool -14, feeling like -20 with that wind chill. That's me trying to do like a cold. I don't know if you caught it there. It's great when you intro a show and you screw up the intro. Gotta love that. Great start for the day. Like I said, -14, a little cloudy today. Nothing too crazy. You feel it in the air. But it is still a beautiful day to talk about sports, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, sorry. And we have a lot to talk about. Not a lot of sports news, but like big sports news. So yeah, grab your popcorn, grab some coffee, and let's get ready for it. The big news coming out of the sports world, not big news, but took over the sports world yesterday, especially the hockey world, was the passing of NHL Hall of Famer Ted Lindsay, who passed away at the age of 93 yesterday. Ted Lindsay, of course, played for the Detroit Red Wings. He spent all but 3 seasons of his 17-year career in the red and white. In those 1,068 career regular season games, he recorded 851 points. Of course, he played in 133 postseason games, winning 4 Stanley Cups. In 1950, he began the NHL tradition of skating around with the Stanley Cup after you win it. He was a 9-time All-Star and took home the Art Ross Trophy in 1949 and 50, like 1949 to 50. He was named to the NHL's 100 Greatest Players list in 2017. Of course, in the NHL today, there is the Ted Lindsay Award, which is, of course, handed out annually to the most outstanding player in the league, voted by the player. Not players, voted by the members of the NHL Players Association. Kind of his longest, that's what he's been known for the longest time, since he hasn't played in 60 years. He, of course, was huge in creating the NHLPA in the late 50s and kind of tying together the players and the owners. Ray Ferraro said this last night in the Leafs broadcast. Also, Leafs won 6-2 last night over the Calgary Flames. Great game. Said that Ted Lindsay, every player in the league right now, and every player from now on in the league, owes their bargaining rights and the fact that their contracts are as good as they are and all the rights they have to Ted Lindsay, because he really created that relationship between the owners and the players and made the owners realize that the players don't work for the owners, they work together, essentially. This is all from Ray Ferraro. And I'm not doing it justice, but I'm trying to get the message across that, before it was the owners owned the players. That's why they were the owners. And they could do what they want. They could pay what they want. If they didn't want to pay a lot of money, they didn't. It was simple as that. Now it's kind of we work together. We're business partners in all of this. And it's amazing what he did for the league. And it's kind of gotten forgotten. I didn't know, honestly, which sounds terrible. I didn't know before he passed how integral he was in the NHLPA. But I guess it's better late than never, as long as what he has done is never forgotten. That's all that matters here. And I found this out when Ted Lindsay started in the NHL. He made $2,500 a year playing hockey. Of course, in let's say in the late 1940s, early 50s, big money, $2,500. I don't know what that equals to in inflation. But yeah, he made $2,500 a year, and the star players of the NHL were secretly selling broken sticks for 25 cents a year. 25 cents a stick because they needed the money. In today's NHL, if a player got caught, not caught, if the player was seen selling stuff because he needed the money, it would look really bad on the player. And if you think Jack Johnson, when he was with the Columbus Blue Jackets, he had a money issue with his parents, who he trusted with his money, and they took it and invested it and spent it. And you get some pity, but it's kind of just a "what are you doing" move almost. I've noticed, or maybe that's just me though. But no, rest in peace to Ted Lindsay, of course, one of the greatest, one of the top 100 in the NHL. No, never forgotten. That's Also in the NHL, just trying to buffer, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Senators on 2 days ago. Beat the Senators on Sunday, sorry, to tie an NHL record with 50 wins through 66 games. Of course, they're having an amazing season this year, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov is having an amazing season. But the one thing that got me is Tampa has gotten 50 points twice before Ottawa's got it once. And if that doesn't make sense, Tampa is over 100 points now. I believe they're at 104 with that win over Ottawa. And Ottawa still doesn't have like 50. They're at like 49, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But like by the time Tampa got to 100, Ottawa still didn't have 50. Now they have 51. Okay. But no, at that time, yeah, they had got to 50, Tampa had got to 50 twice before Ottawa did once. And I don't know if that shows how good Tampa is or how bad Ottawa is, or maybe it's a mix-up of both. Now, if you're a fan of the NHL and if you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know that this past week, I believe Thursday, I should know. This past week, John Tavares returned home to the island to play against his team that drafted him, the New York Islanders. I don't know why I think there. Played against the team that brought him up, drafted him, made him who he is, helped make him who he is at least. And the guy he had played 9 seasons for. And going into the game, fans knew, and John Tavares said he knew that he was going to kind of get ridiculed or get some jeers, and like he was expecting boos and stuff, and it was last Thursday. Sorry, I just had to check quick. Going into the game, that's kind of what you expected. Even Barry Trotz of the Islanders, the head coach of the Islanders, gave a message to the fans saying we have to respect John. Everything John did for the organization, he earned the right to go back home. Just telling the fans to be respectful, cheer on the Islanders, and let's have a good game. Of course, many Islanders fans, voiced their displeasure since his decision. They released a really awkward video. We're going to go in depth on this Tavares thing. This really bothered me this past week. Released a video that was really awkward of like them like calling him Pajama Boy and saying, and just like kind of almost like just awkward about it all. Essentially treating Tavares like he's been the only free agent that's ever left the team that drafted him and moved on somewhere else. Usually, and the best part for me is usually New York, like people go to New York from the places that they're drafted to leave. In my head, there's perfect examples of Jason Giambi. Jason Giambi left the Oakland Athletics, went to the New York Yankees. I don't know why this is taking me so long in my head. You'd think if I was going to bring that point up, I would know what I was going to say. No, but New York is usually the town that takes the free agents. They got took Aroldis Chapman from Cincinnati. It's not a free agent. Anyways, this is the first time a Canadian NHLer, a big time player, has been drafted by an American team, developed, played really well, and then moved on from his American team that drafted him to a Canadian, back home to where he was from, to play for his home country, his home province. And it just bothered Islanders fans more than it probably should have, in my opinion. Of course, in Leaf fashion, the Toronto Maple Leafs lost that game to the Islanders 6-1. It's like, come on, maybe win that game. And I'll be honest, the booing and stuff like that doesn't bother me. I should have clarified that. I said that wrong. Booing and like some of the chants, "We don't need you," calling him Pajama Boy, "Where's your jammies," stuff like that. That's funny. Like, or "Who's your daddy?" That's kind of funny. I'll be honest. It's like Nashville during the Stanley Cup Finals. The year they made the Stanley Cup Finals, lost to Pittsburgh. They would go like, they would yell the goalie's name like, Crawford, you suck. It's all your fault. Like, to get into the guy's head. And if they want to yell at John Tavares, whatever. All the power to them. It shows they have energy. It shows they've got, they care about the game. But they threw stuff on the ice. And they threw stuff at players. And I know it was only a couple people. And you shouldn't say, well, don't let those couple people speak for the whole franchise. Well, for the fans, it's pretty easy to when they almost hit the guy with his own jersey. And I know people are like, oh, it's a jersey. That wouldn't hurt if you get in the face. What if there was a brick in the jersey? Like, it's not hard to sneak stuff in that's heavy. You throw a water bottle in the jersey, break the kid's nose. I know it's a water bottle, shouldn't break someone's nose, but you don't know. If you're higher up, there's more velocity on it because gravity. I believe that's how that works. But just the fact that, like, stuff was thrown at John Tavares and stuff was thrown on the ice. They threw snakes, rubber snakes on the ice. I mean, creative. Are we 5? Where we have to throw stuff at the guy we don't like anymore simply because he is no longer playing for the team that we like? I thought that was a little absurd. Of course, the burning of the former players' jerseys, that's always a thing that's going to happen from now on. It's just like, oh, player left our team, burn the jerseys. A huge thing with LeBron. That's LeBron's like favorite thing probably in the offseason is like, I wonder how many people burned my jersey today. Just kind of like just embracing it. Like, oh, there goes my jersey's burnt. But they still paid for them. I never get that. You pay for a jersey, you burn it. All the people buying jerseys and like paying a lot of money for jerseys that are like Trader 91. Like, oh, good for you. I bet you that really bothers John Tavares. But like I said, the whole thing that got me and still kind of bothers me is the fact that they threw stuff. And I just can't get over that, how you can call yourself logical and say that, oh, we're just like defending ourselves. We felt betrayed by John Tavares because he left. He just wanted a boatload of money and he wanted to go to the Leafs. He told us. He said to the Islanders fans, oh, I want to stay here in the island. And I bet you Tavares did. I bet you there was a huge part of Tavares that was like, I don't want to leave the island because this is the team that drafted me. They brought me up. They made me who I am. They made me the man I am today because he was 18 when he got drafted. Like, he started right into the league, and he grew up there. He's played there, of course, 9 years, like I said. And it was not easy for him to leave. There's no way it was. You can't just, like, leave after a place you've been for so long. You've played there for so long. They've loved you there for so long. I can only imagine what that would have been like for Tavares to leave. And I know that sounds a bit hypocritical because he went to the Leafs, he went back home. It's almost like going away to school for 7 years and then feeling guilty because you're going back home where you came from. And like, let's say you went to, I think that's a perfect example actually. Good job, Jim. If you go to school for 7 years, first of all, school 7 years, that's a lot of school. You make a lot of friends there because you make friends because that's what hopefully you made friends, I should say. Still working on that. No. You make friends, and then you leave after 7 years, or 9 years. I don't know what I'm saying. 9 years. You go, yeah, I'm going to go back home, where I'm from. I think that's where I want to play. That's where I want to grow up. Maybe raise a family. Build the rest of my career at home. Your friends, your real friends at least, aren't going to be like, well, screw you. You betrayed us. I know you said you wanted to live here, and you liked living here, but why are you leaving? Like, kind of not really good friends or good fans if you're like, no, why are you, like, you could be a fan of the team and hate that. Oh, you could hate that all you want. That our best player left. Crap, that really sucks. So during the tribute video, do you know what you do? You boo. You go, man, he left us, boo. Or maybe you could clap your hands. Like, thanks, John, for everything you did. And I know a lot of fans are like, no, he betrayed us. He left right after saying that he was going to stay and he wanted to be a part of the franchise. He wanted to be part of a good franchise, and they got good now. Of course, nobody expected them to be good, and no one says they're going to stay good. There's a very good chance they could crumble and fall out of the playoffs. And then, like, does that make it all worth it? All this stuff towards John Tavares? Probably. They probably love what they're doing right now. They think they're so... A lot of, from what I've heard online and through stuff from New York media, is they think they are the creme de la creme of fans because they defended their team against John Tavares. which I just don't get everything he's done for the franchise. And people say, oh, he didn't want to play, he only won one playoff series. What did he do? He put asses in seats while he was there. He played for the team. He played his heart out for the team for 9 years. Did everything he could. This is how they treated him. Here, I got a video here of his tribute video. It's about 2 minutes long. We'll play it. And you'll just hear like the boo, like just like the booing. And it's like, why? Like, grow up. Here.
Now the crowd will have its opportunity to show their appreciation, disdain, or some combination of the two for their former captain, John Tavares, in his first game back here on Long Island.
With the first overall pick, the New York Islanders select John Tavares.
Forward, number 91, John Tavares.
From Molson, that hopped over his stick. Molson got it back, couldn't control it. They score! It's Tavares! John Tavares picked up the loose puck and fires home his first National Hockey League goal. Rebound loose, still loose. They score! Tavares. There's Como firing, save made, rebound, score, hat trick. John Tavares. Steps up Tavares. Tavares pulls it from big save, rebound, he scores! By Bowman, Tavares gets him back and scores!
Tavares cuts back, he's in, he shoots, he scores! It's number 500 for John Tavares!
Letty a shot, directed on goal, score! Tavares!
Feeds Tavares, quick shot, save made by the pad of Luongo. Tavares scores! Tavares wins it on a backhander! It's over!
'2009 to 2018 will always be known as the John Tavares era here on the island. He was the best player on the team most nights. Perhaps now some closure for one or both parties, which perhaps the distance grows between them. Islanders fans can remember more of what he did and who he was and less about how he left.
Exactly right. As time goes on, they'll be able to think back to how important John Tavares was.
So it was a great video. I know, like, you don't see the video on radio. Kind of made it tough there. But you hear, like, what happened, like, scored 500 goals. So in the island, he played 669 games. I don't know why I didn't get to this sooner. 500 goals, 500 points. Sorry, what am I saying? He scored 272 goals, 348 assists for 621 points. Like, I just don't understand, like, the way they treated. Sure, only made it to one. Only made it past. Made it to the second round once. But in 24 playoff games with the island, he had 22 points. So it's not like he slouched. He scored 2 overtime goals. He had 9 hat tricks with the island. 8 hat tricks. He had one with Toronto. And he played there from the like. I just don't understand. He was a 9-time NHL. I looked this up last night. I believe. Played in the All-Star game for the island multiple times. And this is how they're gonna remember him for how he left instead of what he did while he was on the team. He's a 6-time NHL All-Star, 5 times with the island. And all they're going to remember him for is because he left, which I think is absurd. And the way they've treated him for it. Because when you think about it, and I just saw it in the clip perfectly, the players he was surrounded with in the island were not good. He was the best, far and above. You put him with Kyle Okposo, Matt Molson. He finally got a good player to play with, and Matt Barzal in his final year in the island. And you expect him to stay because of that? I think that's absurd. That because we got a good team now. You got to stay, John. You said you wanted to stay. Stay now. No, he doesn't have to stay. He didn't stay. Of course, we know that. But if they didn't have a good, they don't have a good track record there. The management there does not have a good track record. And there's nothing saying John Tavares doesn't love the city of New York and playing on the island. But the Coliseum he played in, this gets brought up all the time, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. is the worst stadium in the NHL to play in, the worst arena in the NHL to play in. I've heard players have said it online. This arena sucks. There's no room. It's so old. The ceiling's so low. They just don't like it. But the Islanders fans love it because it's their building, right? Everyone loves their own building. Unless you're unless you're the Island. You shouldn't. Or you're Florida when no fans show up. But John Tavares started and is the reason why there are fans' asses in those seats booing him. And that's it. He made those fans. And maybe there are fans before him, but he kept them around. And they're going to turn on him because he left? If you really liked the player while he played for your team and you wanted the best for him while he was on your team, you should want the best for him off your team. That's the way I see it. And I just don't agree with how he's been treated like this. You can hate a guy for leaving your team, whatever. You don't throw stuff at him. If somebody, your friend, quit your work, left and went work somewhere else, you're not going to see him down the street and throw stuff at him. Why'd you leave? Couldn't handle it here? Pretty boy. Like, you're not going to do that. So what makes it different? Because he's an athlete? Because there's that separation from the glass to the ice? No. Smarten up. This probably won't make it to New York. I don't care. You don't treat a player, you don't treat a person like that. And someone that's done so much for you, so much for your franchise, you're going to treat them like that? You're going to throw stuff at them? You're going to say, like, I'll be honest, we don't need you. Kind of funny. At that time, not needed. You clap your hands and you celebrate him for everything he did for your franchise. Or this is why, good luck in the Island getting free agents. Who the hell is going to want to play for a team that doesn't celebrate its own players and doesn't give a crap about their own players till they leave? Right now, they say this is the best team there ever was, best team in the NHL. They believe. They're fumbling. They're still in the playoff spots, still in the Metro playoff spots, but there's still a lot of games left, and we don't know. There's a lot of unproven players on that team having great seasons, and I'll admit that. They're all having good seasons on the Island. But it's a lot of they're good now. They are currently second in the Metro Division. They've got 81 points. Carolina's right behind them with 78. Pittsburgh's right there with 77. And they've played 65 games, so not even 20 games left. That is 17 games left. They're probably going to make the playoffs. They're 2-3 in their last 5. But just like the fans are against. I'm going to play Coach's Corner here quick. It'll be a quick clip here just to get, here's Don Cherry on the whole situation of the Islanders and John Tavares.
Toronto rolls into Long Island and everything goes wrong.
Hey.
Fans get on Tavares and they lose bad.
They're good. So they lose. So what? Shots are even, eh? Yeah. So it does that. Sure, they drew 17,000 for that one. They made bad signs, the whole deal. What'd they draw the next game? 13,000. It wasn't Trotz. He had nothing. Lamorello's a jerk. They have fun. That's all right. They pay their money. But what happened the next game? 13,000 from 17,000. So who's kidding?
You don't think it was a little over the top?
Yeah, I think they went a little too far.
Okay.
Man, you know what bothered me about the Leafs? I'm going to say this about the Leafs. Really, really bothered. Two things bother me. But anyhow, first of all, Dermott gets driven into the boards here with disdain. Watch this here. And now one guy went up to him, and guys, look at, he's laying there.
All right, so Don Cherry goes on talking about Travis Dermott getting hurt and when nobody fought. That's Don Cherry. I agree with the point. They drew 17,000 fans against the Toronto Maple Leafs, 13,000 the next. So 4,000 fans aren't real fans of the New York Islanders. They're just there to boo a guy. Well, good for them. That's all the fan you are. That's pathetic, in my opinion. And what does that mean for me? Probably nothing. People don't give a crap what I have to think here. But if you think, you're just there to boo a guy, come on, grow up. That's all I'm going to say to Islanders fans, grow up. After that game, Leafs fans, a guy on Twitter, Adam Wilde is his name. I shouldn't say a guy on Twitter. He is one of the hosts for Virgin Radio Morning in Toronto. I don't know the call for that radio station. It's 5 to 9 a.m. But Adam Wilde, also a Steve Nagel podcast, started John Tavares Day and Tavares Day, whatever, saying that Leafs fans should celebrate John Tavares and make John Tavares feel welcome here and remind John Tavares why he came to Toronto. which at first I was like, oh, this is a thing they're doing. Okay. And then like, no, it's kind of a good idea. I started to agree with it. A lot of people online lost it. Like, couldn't believe that this is a thing people did. So the game against the Island was Thursday night. Friday the hashtag started of Toronto TO. And then Saturday they played against the Buffalo Sabres in Toronto. And I thought it was amazing what they almost rolled out the red carpet for Tavares. It was like it was better. I thought it was better. The reception he got was better than his first game in Toronto, which, if you remember, was amazing. People loved Tavares, his first game. This is, of course, all coming after they vandalized him in not Peterborough. I'm reading the sign right in front of me. It says Peterborough in the Island on Thursday. Essentially, Tavares came in on the ice, and they usually stand on the blue line to get introduced before the game, and it goes center, left wing, right wing, defenseman, goalie. But this time they went goalie, defenseman, left wing, right wing, and then John Tavares. And they said they made sure of John Tavares last. The players, Zach Hyman and Mitch Marner, and the defenseman, I don't know who started defense that night, backed away and let Tavares sit alone on the blue line, spotlight on him. And a lot of this started online. It became online. But it was Morgan Riley that went to Babcock and said, I think you should start John Tavares on this. And they did. It was the matchup anyways. They were going to start Tavares probably. But they just wanted to do that to show this guy, thank you. Like, we love you here in Toronto. We're going to give you the respect that you deserve. And they did. And he had a good night. Of course, they won. But the thing that got me, like, you couldn't win against the Island. They've played the Islanders twice now, and they can't beat them. And, like, for Tavares, I bet you they would love that. Like, he would love to, like, just to beat them. That's all it would take. And Tavares said he got goosebumps after the ovation he got. Tremendous people, he says, in Toronto to give me a moment like that. It's something I'll always remember. It shows how tight we are in here. He's talking about in the dressing room there. But the one thing that got me was Islanders fans saying, well, Toronto, you would get mad too. A lot of people saying that Toronto fans would get mad if a free agent left and went to another team. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers the name of Matt Sundin, who didn't start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, played for the Quebec Nordiques, and then went to the Toronto Maple Leafs and was the face of the franchise. I don't know if they're still the face of the franchise. He is still the face of the franchise. I was thinking about this a lot yesterday. About like this topic specifically and about Matt Sundin. And for the early 2000s and the people older than me, like 25 and older, he's definitely the face of their franchise. But for now, the Leafs face of the franchise is both John Tavares and Austin Matthews. But still, Matt Sundin played for the Leafs, played amazing for the Leafs. I believe hold records with the Leafs. And then left in free agency to go play in Vancouver, because Vancouver was going to offer him more. And did offer him more. The Leafs lost out on assets they could have got for trading him away, just like the Islanders lost out on assets for trading for John Tavares. Now, I'll give Islanders fans this. John Tavares was 26. Matt Sundin was, I believe 40 when he left. So it is a bit different, but it's still the face of your franchise, which is all they're arguing, is that the face of their franchise said he wanted to stay, and he left. And what did the Leafs fans do for Matt Sundin? They welcomed him back in his first game back in Toronto, and they built a freaking statue for him out front. Legends Row. Who else is going to probably be out there? John freaking Tavares, because he deserves to be. He's a good player, and they treated him like crap. I was going to play a quick clip here from Tavares' after-game interview, but a lot of audio. Tavares, though, during a pregame interview with Mark Masters before Saturday, said how he deals with negativity, and he got a quote from Theodore Roosevelt that has always resonated with him. I'm going to read it here, and we're going to go on a quick break. We're going to talk about Bryce Harper after the break. I think I've talked enough about the John Tavares thing. Believe it or not, I don't know if you can understand. This almost makes me sick, what they did. And it's not like the booing. Like I've said, I can get over the booing, whatever. I would probably boo too. Maybe. Probably not, because decent human being. But, it was the throwing stuff and the way they handled it and the belief of betrayal when there really wasn't any, whatever. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to read the quote here. John Tavares, through negativity. In the words of Theodore Roosevelt, and I quote, "It is not the critic who counts. not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great euphemisms, the great devotions? Who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement? And who at the worst, if he fails, at least falls, while daring greatly? So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And John Tavares knows victory in Toronto, and we love John here in Toronto. We'll be right back here, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here, ladies and gentlemen, for your Sports Break, broadcasted on 92.7 Triple FM through the facilities here at Trent Radio in still the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. The weather outside is still negative 12. A little chilly, of course. Sun's a little out. Sun's out, guns out. You know what I'm saying? Just before the break here, and like earlier today, it kind of came out. The Blue Jays have officially signed Clay Buchholz to a 1-year contract. Of course, Buchholz last year went 7-2 with a 2.01 ERA. Bolster the starting rotation, probably give him a starter job or put him in the pen. Of course, to make room on the 40-man roster, the Blue Jays have DFA'd designated for assignment Dwight Smith Jr., a guy who's going to play in the outfield, looks to be good, can still play for the Blue Jays. He's just got to pass through waivers first. I'm just holding back a sneeze here, going to fight it here. Great radio, eh? In MLB news, before we get to the biggest MLB news of the week, Clayton Kershaw, for the first time in his career, is questionable for opening day. It'll be the first time since 2010 that the Dodgers would use a different starter. Of course, he's been having shoulder injuries all spring training so far in his left shoulder. Took a couple days off. He appeared for 26 games last year for the Dodgers, going 9-5 with a 2.73 ERA over 161 innings. I hope this isn't the fall of Clayton Kershaw. I love Kershaw too much. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Not like this is all I ask for Kershaw. Like, I know he can't control that, and it's not up to me to say that, but I just hope this isn't how he goes. Another guy with a bit of injury problems is Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals. Of course, one of the best defensive catchers in the league. He will undergo Tommy John surgery to repair a damaged ulnar collateral ligament in his right elbow and will miss the entirety of the 2019 season. It's where the surgery is expected to be performed this week. He hurt himself in a game this week, in a game this week. Of course, he's had injury problems the past couple seasons. He used to play a lot more games. He used to average 138 appearances over each campaign. Of course, won a World Series with Kansas City, and he's just really good. Like, I remember when he played against the Blue Jays, I hated him because he was good and he played against the Blue Jays and beat them. But you step back from that and you grow up a bit and you realize he's a really good player, really good guy. And it's a minus for baseball to be missing him this year. Chicago Cubs named John Lester as their opening day starter. This will be the third straight season that he will be the opening day starter. Of course, their rotation is a little scary with, not scary, but hoping it's good, with Yu Darvish, Jose Quintana, Cole Hamels, and right-hander Kyle Hendricks. Kind of hoping that they can get better, because they are what really held the Cubs back last year as their starting rotation. Aaron Judge said the Yankees this season will crush the single-season home run record in 2019. He believes that they can top the 267 homers that the squad hit last year. The team hit last year. I don't know what I'm saying, the squad. That wouldn't surprise me. Of course, last year I'm misreading this. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. They've got a really good team, of course, with Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and Gary Sanchez. Yeah, add in Brett Gardner, Aaron Hicks, Luke Voigt, Miguel Andujar, Troy Tulowitzki, who's hitting home runs in spring training left and right. Excuse me, yeah. It's just, I could see it. It'll be a thing for the Yankees. That's how they'll get most of their runs, is the home runs. Of course, it's the AL East. Everybody hits home runs. That's how they score. The betting odds are out for the to win the World Series this season. Of course, the Astros are the favorite at 8-1 or 5-way race. Sorry, with odds at 1,000 plus 1,000 or shorter. The Dodgers, the Red Sox, Yankees, Phillies, and the Astros. But the Astros are the favorite at 8-1. They're projected to win 95 plus games. They've got an easier division than the Yankees or the Red Sox. That's pretty much it. They've got a really good team, really good rotation they've added to. Bullpen's a little, the rotation's a little off, but they're the Houston Astros. And I'm just going through here. The underdogs, the Washington Nationals. Of course, they picked up Patrick Corbin. They got Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg. It's amazing top three. Pretty good bullpen. Sean Doolittle in the back end. They're in on Craig Campbell. Of course, they lost Bryce Harper, but still a pretty good lineup. And sorry, what was that name? Did I just say Bryce Harper? If you've been listening, that's just my stretch of trying to get a segue here. If you've been listening to the show for this season, you've known how the MLB offseason has kind of been boring. And it's been really slow of people signing. Whereas the NHL offseason, the first day of free agency, of course, John Tavares came home. John Tavares becoming a Toronto Maple Leaf. In case you didn't know, he's still a Toronto Maple Leaf. But the MLB offseason has been so slow. We waited a long time for Manny Machado to finally sign, and we still waited on Bryce Harper. And the news of both of them was getting kind of old, I'll be honest. It was kind of just like, let's do this now. Like, let's not wait forever just so these guys, it was boring as a fan. I'm sure as a general manager, you wanted to take time because you wanted to make sure that, you were getting the right deal and it made sense for your franchise. But as a fan, screw that. Hurry up and we're just here to be entertained, right? But Bryce Harper, of course, on Thursday, finalized the contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. And it was a monster. I still can't get over it. I still can't fathom it. I know I've been bothering a lot of people, been like, I can't believe it. 13 years. 13 years from now. Well, so he signed a 13-year, $330 million contract. It does not include any opt-outs, and there is a no-trade clause attached to the contract. So it essentially means he wants to be a Philadelphia Philly. Plain and simple. Which I think is amazing, because opt-outs, I agree they're good. If you sign to a team and they're not good, opt-out, get out. The reason that gets abused is if you have an amazing season. David Price... Could David Price opt out? No, David Price could have opted out this past season, this off season. Let's say he wins the Cy Young and has an ERA of 0.5. Why not opt out and become the highest paid pitcher? Clayton Kershaw opted out of his contract to get a better deal and a longer deal. It goes both ways. I'm not saying David Price would do that. That's the name I thought of. I just want to clear that up. But no opt-outs essentially means he doesn't want to leave Philly. He wants to stay in Philly and play for them. But it's the 13-year deal that gets me. I will be 32 when that deal expires. He will be 39. Crazy to think of, first of all, he's only 5 years older. Don't like that. That's also not true at all. He's 7 years older. But it's 7 years older. Yeah, I don't know why that was such hard math for me to do there. He's 7 years older, which is crazy. But 13 years, that's a long time. A lot of things happen in 13 years. And he's going to be on one team. Now, by then, probably the designated hitter will move its way to the National League. And he'll most likely DH for a majority of his career, I believe. Maybe he'll stay in right field. We'll see. But it wouldn't surprise me if he... It wouldn't surprise me if he became a DH for a long time. He received a $20 million signing bonus, of course, with the contract. So salary for next year, he only makes $10 million, and then $26 million for the next 8 years. The 8 years after that, and then the final 3 years of the deal, he makes $22 million. This upcoming season, he'll make $10 million and the $20 million signing bonus, so $30 million this season. It's the only season he'll make $30 million. He officially passed his physical on Friday. They introduced him as a Philly on the Saturday. And this is just a huge thing for the MLB. It really stretches it out. And for me, it all begins with Harper saying, like, Harper wanting to put down roots and build a winner in Philly instead of opt-outs and having, like, all this that he could leave Philly whenever he wants. And with his agent, Scott Boras, the guy who, like, forces opt-outs on players of his own, like, his players that he represents. He tells them to get opt-outs. For a guy like Bryce Harper to not take one is amazing for the sport, I believe. It's just amazing to see. He just wants to stay there through the good and the bad. And in 13 years, there's a good chance they'll be good now. Then they're going to go through a bad streak, and then they'll be really good. But he's there through it all. Unless he requested a trade, which would not look good for him. But no, he wants to stay in Philly, and that's where he wants to be. And it's a funny quote. He said, "The first thing I thought of, if I signed with the Phillies, I don't have to face Aaron Nola anymore," which I think is hilarious. Aaron Nola, of course, a great pitcher for the Phillies right now. And like, just making light of it. Of course, when he was talking in a press conference, he said, "I want to bring a World Series to DC. I mean Philly." Like, come on, Bryce. Maybe get where you are a little more in your head so you don't make a mistake like that. But he did a classy thing as soon as he got there, Bryce Harper. Of course, everyone knows with the Washington Nationals, he wore 34. That was Bryce Harper. Kind of like Austin Matthews, 34, not a big deal. But no, he was 34. And when he went to the Phillies, everyone was like, oh, he's going to wear 34 again. And stores started selling 34 jerseys. But he decided to ditch his trademark 34 and go with number 3 in the ultimate classy move of course, sorry. Harper wore 34 for 7 years with the Nationals. He chose that number to honor Mickey Mantle, who wore 7 with the Yankees. Harper explained that if number 7 wasn't available, he wanted to wear digits that added up to Mantle's number. So I'm trying to think how 34 works. Isn't that 7, 14, 21? Anyways, somehow it adds up to 34. And then the switch to number 3 kind of... it hasn't been 34, his original number, hasn't officially been retired by the Phillies, but it was taken out of circulation for the 2018 to honor Roy Halladay following his death in the 2017 plane crash. Of course, Halladay elected to the Hall of Fame. Phillies have discussed retiring 34 permanently in his honor, but no, Harper said, I'm going to wear 3. It's not right for me to wear 34, whether you give me the permission or not. I'm not even going to ask for it, which I think was a really classy thing for do. Ironically, actually, Harper will be the 34th player to wear number 3 for the Phillies. That's according to Baseball Reference. Hunter Pence wore it. Dale Murphy wore it for Philadelphia. But no, he's going to switch to number 3, which I think is kind of cool. I always like seeing single numbers. I always like 5. 5's a solid number. But yeah, just a solid move by a good guy, Bryce Harper. He might have had attitude problems when he was younger. People didn't like him coming into the game, or like when he was coming into the game, coming into himself. But I think it's a great move for him. Great PR. I'll be honest, like great PR for the team and everybody as a whole. Like all it takes is him not wearing 34, and look at what I'm talking about. I'm just a degenerate talking about this. Think about like big news medias would love this, would kill for that story. But with his deal, the Phillies immediately sold 100,000 tickets since the deal was signed. They've sold out opening day. It wasn't sold out before. Great for the Phillies. Right field completely sold out first because everyone wants to catch a Harper home run, hopefully opening day. His jersey became the quickest and best seller within 24 hours of a signing. That means it's better than LeBron's signing, better than John Tavares. It was just huge for Philly. I know I hate Philly, and I've talked about it on the show here. I just don't like Philly. They're annoying fans, but they like that's their thing. They're very annoying fans, but they love that, and that's their thing. That's simple as that. And that's probably why I hate them, is because they're like that. But good for them. They got the guy they needed to make their franchise better. But the biggest thing for me this deal does is it sets the path for Mike Trout, who, if you don't know who Mike Trout is and you're listening to the show, come on. Unless you're my parents, shout out to them for listening. Helps me get to 2 viewers every episode. Anyways, Mike Trout is probably the greatest player in baseball right now. Could be the greatest player of all time. And he's poised to hit the open market after the 2020 MLB season. Of course, we don't know if he's going to re-sign with the Angels. This is after the 2019 season. It's the first time he could talk about re-signing or creating a new deal. So right now, he just gets asked a lot about it, which I'm sure he hates. Trout's free agency corresponds with the vacancies in the Phillies outfield, as both Andrew McCutchen and Odubel Herrera would both be free agents at that time, which of course every Philly fan wants that because Mike Trout is from Philadelphia. He loves the Eagles. I don't know if he loves the Flyers. Nobody loves the Flyers. Ugh. But no, the rumor is that he's going to go to Philly or he's going to go to New York, whatever. That's a long way away. But it just sets the path for what this deal is going to become. If Bryce Harper can get $330 million, you add 2 years of inflation, which I know it's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be some. And then you add the fact that Mike Trout is arguably the best player to ever play the game of baseball already. There's no way he doesn't get $400, maybe $500 million. Now, I know he's going to be 29 by the time that deal happens, and we've seen with guys like Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols, where you sign these old guys to big contracts and it bites you in the ass. We'll have to see. There's another guy, Mookie Betts, is entering free agents the next season. Could get a lot of money as well. This sets the path. Both Manny Machado and Bryce Harper set the path for the future for everyone. And it just makes things it's going to make it very interesting contract-wise. We're running low here on time for Sports Break. But to imagine this, of course, the Nolan Arenado deal as well. They each get paid a lot of money per game. I'm just going to cover that. Per game, Manny Machado makes $185,000. Nolan Arenado will make $208,000, and Bryce Harper will make $160,000. But it's the one that per hour after he signed this deal, Manny Machado makes $3,424. Took a lot to say. Nolan Arenado makes $3,660, and Bryce Harper makes $2,899. So they make a lot of money per hour. Like, to make $3,000 per hour, that's a pretty good job. Of course, playing baseball would be a pretty good job. The one thing in the MLB, we're just wrapping up. This is still all Bryce Harper. Is deferred payments. You can defer your payments on contracts till later. And the Nationals offered to Bryce Harper, we will pay you until you are 60 years old, which would have been absurd. Of course, his deal with the Phillies contains no deferred payments. He gets paid up front every year, the 20 or so million. But the payment, that would have been, he would have received his last payment around 2052, which seems like a made-up number to me in my, 2030, 2052, sure, whatever. We're going to make it to then. But yeah, no, this is all, yeah. Bryce Harper turned down also a 12-year, $310 million offer from the Giants. So one less year than the Phillies, which I could see. The Phillies are a good team now. He can win now. So he'd rather do that than play for the Giants, which wouldn't surprise me because the Giants are they're not good. They're not going to be good for a while, but that's baseball. Yeah, so running out of steam here. That is all the time we have today for your Sports Break. Big news, big stories this week, of course, with John Tavares' treatment in New York and the way they treated him in Toronto to make up for it. The Bryce Harper deal, biggest deal in sports. 13 years. Fathom that if you can. I still can't. Still, that is all the time we have today for your Sports Break, broadcasted on 92.7 C Triple FM through the facilities here of Trent Radio in the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. If you've missed previous shows, you can catch up on Twitter at SportsBreakTR, or you can follow. We will be back next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another show where we'll talk about the NHL season, wrapping up for the playoffs, baby. The MLB spring training, it's coming up. It's almost done. See if anything else has happened with the Blue Jays, with anybody else. We'll kick her out for opening day because there are only 22 days left until opening day. Get ready for that. And always remember to check both your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Don't just say it for myself. Check your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And have a good day.